Okay, so why am I recording a video blog sat on my bathroom floor? It's because I have two guests. I'm going to see if I can show them to you. They are a little bit shy. Possibly guest one, possibly guest two. Not entirely sure if the camera got them, but they are hard to photograph right now because they are a little bit scared. This is a new environment for them. That's why it's a bathroom specifically. If you don't know, when you adopt cats, it's good just to confine them to a small room for about 3 days. And the bathroom is especially a favourite choice because easy to clean up spills, and there's not too many places for them to sort of, irretrievably hide. Because understandably, oh hi, you got a friend? This is Jess. Hi Jess. It is hard for me to tell you who is the bolder one. I mean, in general I would have said Jess. Hi, you're showing an interest, aren't you? Can you see yourself? Apparently cats don't pass the mirror test, so she can see herself, it's very confusing for her. I'm sorry, I can't tell if I got the camera angle right there. It's I realise it'd be frustrating if I haven't. Hi. Yeah, so they're getting acclimatized. Jess was like so brave for the journey, and then as soon as she got in here, she just bolted into, let's talk about the alcove, because I prepared this room thoroughly. I removed everything bathroomy from it, like all the soaps, all the shampoos and stuff, just in case they can try and eat them and stuff like that. And I originally, this cabinet doesn't go all the way to the floor, and I originally had a big storage box in there that I kept sealed that I thought would be good just to block off that area, because the whole reason you don't put them in your bedroom is they can hide under the bed and you can't get them out. And this was a very under the bed-like space. But then the foster who was looking after them said actually that she thought they would really appreciate a place to hide. So I took the storage crate out before they arrived to give them that little space to hide. And yeah, Jess on arrival bolted out of the carrier and went right under there, and not only under there but up inside. This is the cabinet beneath the bathroom sink, and I knew that there was space underneath it. I didn't really know that there was a hole in the bottom of it that leads up to like the pipes beneath the sink and stuff, and goes ultimately to the back of this drawer. And that drawer I had kept shut, and I hadn't emptied it because I thought, well, they can't open the drawer. Like, I know they're inventive and they can do more than you expect, but this drawer is, pretty stiff. You'd have to, the handle is not reachable from the ground for a cat, so you'd have to be like hanging from the handle, and there's nothing to pull against really. It would be a real task to open it. Never did I consider that, I think they like being ignored. Because Jess is being a lot more active and a lot more interested than when I sort of try and coax her a little bit. I think they appreciate the neglect, don't you? You love a bit of neglect, yeah. Yeah, so I didn't imagine for a second they would be able to climb. I had no idea it was even physically possible. There was even, I thought it was boarded off. I've never lain on my back underneath my bathroom sink cabinet to check whether it has a bottom or not, whether the bottom is free of holes. Anyway, it turns out there's a hole in there, and then get not just behind the drawer, but then into the drawer from behind. And there's not a lot of space in there. And it's very sweet, really. This drawer is a weird shape to go around the pipes, and these little alcoves are they're like the size of a bread tin. And little Jess slotted herself in there, butt forwards, so butt facing me, and inside the drawer, which is a very awkward spot because, I'm happy for them to hide. I want them to feel comfortable and feel like they have a safe place. But I do need to be able to keep an eye on them. I need to be able to just see them, just make sure, are they still in there? Because if not, I need to be looking for them. And are they okay? Are they, trembling? And, I need to just do a little bit of a health and sanity check. So and also to find them in the first place. But I had to sort of very carefully, very slowly try and open that drawer and just see what's going on. And then I could see that she was in the drawer. And then that's awkward because the height of the drawer is very shallow. turns out there's an alcove behind there, like this facade is not, doesn't go all the way back, there's empty space behind it. So she has space when it's closed, but you can't open the drawer with her in it because she would be sort of scraped off. It's horrible. Like, I mean, cats are kind of liquid, and these are kittens, they're 5 months old. They're extremely agile, they're extremely flexible. She got up there just instantaneously through this, a place she's never seen before, a pitch black climbing frame of pipes and holes, just found that space in no problem at all. So I thought, hey, a little bit of shuffling around. I thought, well, she is 90% sure she's able to get out of there and fine and everything, but the problem is she's sitting, like I said, I didn't empty this drawer because it was the one place I was sure they wouldn't get into. And so not only did it have stuff in it, but kind of the worst stuff in some ways, all sealed, nothing exposed, but one of the main things I keep in there is these little bleach pellets that you put in a toilet cistern to keep it passively cleaning itself. And if she got into one of those, oh my God. But she's sitting right on them, and there's a bunch of other stuff in the drawer, and even moving they're so nervous, even moving anything out of the drawer was like, oh God, what's going on? Not enough to scare her out of it. But yeah, eventually I very slowly, I just supervised her basically, but basically just watched my cat's butt in a drawer for about an hour before very politely and gently seeing if she was okay with me moving things out from under her, and managed to extract all of the worst of it. This is all a very Jess-focused story because Beth, the foster, had some issues getting her into the carrier, and so she had a bit of a traumatic failed attempt, and so Beth went into hiding, and eventually we realised we were not going to get them both into carriers in the same breath. So I went home with Jess, and they gave Beth a chance to calm down and feel safe again before getting into the carrier. And the second time was apparently completely no hassle at all. She was fine with it. So yeah, Jess and I had a little time behind, didn't we, to figure things out. And like I say, happy for them to hide, but I did feel like I sort of need to get her out of that drawer before Beth arrives, because if they both go in the drawer, this is awkward. And it's just a very difficult, it's a spot where I can't really check on them very well without, forcing them out of the space. I have to pull the drawer in such a way that they are pushed forwards at best if they don't just stay in there and get scraped, which is, very unlikely, but a horrible idea. Slow blink. I've learned that slow blinking is how cats, is a signal to cats that things are okay. So I've been doing it a lot. You feel insane doing it, but they do mirror it, and they do makes them look relaxed, and I'm told this means they're relaxing. Yeah, we're relaxing, aren't we? Because I've been doing that a lot, I do talk to them a lot, and I'm fairly accomplished at rambling with no response, do it all the time. But there's only so much slow blinking you can do while talking, and so I've sort of emergently developed my own form of human purring, which is just that kind of just the kind of a tired happy noise to accompany the slow blink. And if it, who knows, if the slow blink works, maybe that noise will become a positive one for them too. It does feel nice. You do feel like a little bit of a connection as you both kind of close your eyes and sync and share this communication, hopefully that everything's okay. This looks demented. Laughing, I'm a bit worried that they don't like laughter, because it is a sudden, when I was visiting them, sometimes they would do something to make me laugh, and a little blast of breath from your nose would hit their phone, and they go, oh my God, what's that? So I've got to get you used to that, and I'll try and control my laughter around you. Yeah, so all of this is to explain. Was that a bit sudden for you? Is to explain that, so Jess is hiding in her little alcove. I didn't pull the drawer out to force her out of the drawer. I just, with my hand, pulled the things out from underneath her, and that generally encouraged her to get out of the drawer. And it turns out, yes, she can get out of the drawer. and sit in the space behind the drawer. That was good because I wanted to remove all the bad stuff and then also just like actually wipe the drawer down in case there was any like bleach or anything nasty in there. So great, problem solved. Then Beth arrives in her carrier, and unlike Jess, she did not bolt out of it. I opened it. And not only she didn't leave, but it seemed like out of chillness, not out of fear. Like, because you can tell when they're really scared, they tremble and mule and everything. And she wasn't like that. She was just very slow, just very sedate. Just interesting. and I was sitting right in front of her. She didn't seem to be particularly bothered by me. So I just gave her a lot of time. And before too long, she emerged and just sort of climbed around the room and explored and looked at everything, which is kind of what I was hoping Jess would do. Jess is usually the braver one when I met them in their home. But yeah, this time it was Beth who was sort of just prowling quite confidently around, explored a bit, chose the sink as her preferred place. She went into the sink, then sat up next to it in a very kind of regal manner, very composed, sat there very calmly. And then I sat with them for a while again and made sure they got used to me and got comfortable. And then I needed to actually get some more food because I put Jess's food bowl in with Jess in a little alcove, so it wasn't easily accessible. Oh yeah, by the way, I thought, poor Beth has been without her sister for all afternoon, already wondering where she went to. Poor Jess is moving to a new place without her sister. Like, is the sister ever going to show up? They might have thought they've been separated forever. I was really worried for their emotional state. And looking forward to the big reunion as the big surprise, almost like a nice surprise for Jess for Beth to show up in this carrier and them to be reunited. I was trying to figure out, have they noticed that they're each in this room? They're both quiet, they don't make a lot of noise, so that there's no audio cue that their sister had arrived. And yeah, Beth's climbing all over the sink. Jess is inside the sink, like underneath the sink basically. And I would have thought they would have that they glimpsed each other, especially Jess because she's sort of peering out. She doesn't have a lot to look at in her little alcove, so she's looking and she would have seen like a leg go by. But just no reaction, no acknowledgement. They didn't show any interest in each other. They didn't seem to, to the point where I literally couldn't tell if they knew each other was there. And that has continued. They definitely know each other is there now. They've occupied the same space, but they've no particular interest in each other at all. I guess maybe they're so used to each other that it's not even a thing. They don't even imagine the possibility they could be separated, which is nice. That's great. Yeah, and then when I came back this morning, settled them in for the night and everything, made sure they had fresh food and all of that. And then came back this morning and they weren't in sight. The drawer was a little bit closed, not fully closed, but when I peered inside, I discovered that Beth was in one of the drawers. Oh, wait, how do I do it? Like this. And Jess was behind them. And this is a terrible thing because it's only the sides that they can really sit in, or that they do really sit in. And so, the sides of the drawer are like a ramrod that goes into that. So it's really, it can't be in both, but the one space crushes the other. For the drawer to be far enough forwards for a cat to sit behind it, it has to make the drawer space itself too small for a cat to sit inside it. And for a cat to sit inside that space and it to be far enough back for that to be comfortable, the cat behind has to be crushed. And there's two sides to this thing. They could have both sat behind it or both sat in the drawer, but they'd found the one most uncomfortable, awkward situation. You could theorize maybe they're trying to compress themselves. They wanted to be boxed in tightly because they're hiding or whatever. I don't think it's that because they'd have to understand this mechanism pretty closely, and it's this drawer. It's got a variable resistance rate as you push it in and out. When it gets close to closing, it's got a lot of resistance, and it's quite a complicated thing to adjust it to a particular preferred state. So I think it's more about just each of them having a different choice of where they wanted to sit, and then just naturally expanding in a way that moved the drawer slightly to this really unhappy compromise where both of them looked really cramped. It felt super bad for them. And so I've made an executive decision, I'm trying to find this line between let them do their thing, let them find their comfort zone, give them some respect, but also, you know, they are here to acclimatise, and the longer that takes, the less fun it is for them. To some extent, I need to coax them and make some decisions about their environment. And the decision I made is like, I don't want your comfort zone in this place to be a machine that crushes cats in 2 different directions. Because, like, I'm sure, yeah, again, 90% the cats can be trusted to sort of squirm their way out of any nasty situations and not, you know, put pressure on each other that's going to do damage. But for the sake of that 10%, let's just not have you live in a death apparatus. So I thought about just taking the whole drawer out, which I think I know how to do. It would be a little bit noisy and you know, potentially big objects moving very fast near them could be quite unpleasant for them. And then also it would remove the front of this drawer hole completely. And I think they actually really like the situation we have where, I keep forgetting how to do this, where they get to feel hidden. They're definitely tucked away in a little alcove, but I can see them. We can make eye contact. I can see their food and water in there and see the levels of those things. And they seem to be just comfortable with that because I've now walled off the underside of the cabinet so that they have a completely enclosed dark space down there if they want to be out of view. I don't know if they truly know that or understand it, of course, but they seem fine with just like making eye contact and watching each other through this little gap. And I like that, you know, that seems like a best of both worlds where they have their comfort zone that they've chosen, but we are socializing a little bit. I've been putting on little puppet shows for them with the let's see, can I film this interaction? You like that, don't you? Can't every gene in your genetic makeup tells you that if a little thing is scooting around, doing quick jumps, that's the most interesting thing in the world. Where's she going? She's, yeah. I mean, she seems so close to going for it. I think she will. Oh yeah, paw, hello. She's pawing it. Okay, might be having a breakthrough. I'm not going to try and film the breakthrough. So we have been successfully interacting, and that's nice. And then the solution to all of this is I've just used a shoelace to tie it to my towel rack so that, like, it's not impossible to close it with enough force, like to close it a little bit, but it's not going to close all the way, and they can't crush each other now. So I think that's progress.